Vibe.
We're back.
You know I got the amazing queen with me.
Thanks, my love.
The fires in LA is still burning.
It's burning fire.
Crazy. A lot of people have lost so much.
A lot of homes burned down.
Homes burned down.
What is it like, Mel, for you to see all this?
Wow, it's
your
just,
area.
hey, I feel I belong to a large but elite group
Yeah, you lost your home.
of people who lost homes, and you know, it's devastating for all of them too.
What about your awards and like stuff from Braveheart, that kind of stuff? I mean,
Yeah, they mostly kind of went. The Oscars weren't there.
they weren't there.
Nah, but you know, a lot of stuff.
Wow. Every time I see this, it's like, whoa. It looks like, looks a lot smaller than it seemed used to be. You know, it's a fairly vast house. But yeah, it had slate tiles, but there were some wood parts on the house. So, as you can see. But it's pretty well burnt.
Yeah.
If there is anything there, it's not much use, I would say. Who knows? I opened a safe. Everything in there was just...
Is it really?
Yeah. Look at this. This is crispy. This was a garage and a guest house apartment on top. But look at this. Look what happens to the insides. Wow, man. It's gutted. It's crazy. Yep. Wow, look at this. Crazy. It's still hot.
Like the aerial view, it's crazy.
Crazy. Some few houses miraculously survive it.
Crazy. Crazy. Prayers to everybody.
Prayers.
Yeah, who was affected.
Be kind to one another.
Blessings. It's going to take time to recover, but blessings. Your life is important. Your health is important.
All lost things can be replaced.
Facto. So, in the midst of the fire, there has been political back and forth.
If we cut one position, if we close one station, if we close one resource, the residents of Los Angeles are going to pay the ultimate sacrifice, and someone will die.
Just last month, fire personnel packed an LA Fire Commission meeting, begging the city to rethink the budget.
These cuts came at exactly the wrong time, with calls for services at an all-time high and our firefighters at their breaking point.
We are straining our department's resources beyond the brink, and we cannot continue on this path.
Who is going to be responsible? The chief of the fire department, she came out, she made a statement.
She did.
Did the city of Los Angeles fail you and your department and our city?
It's my job to stand up as a chief and exactly say, justifiably, what the fire department needs to operate to meet the demands of the community.
Did they fail you?
That is our job, and I tell you, that's why I'm here. So let's get us what we need so our firefighters can do their jobs.
Did they fail you?
Yes.
Was your budget for the fiscal year 2024-2025 cut?
I can tell you, I'm going to even go back further than that. Again, since day one, we've identified huge gaps in regard to our service delivery and our ability from our firefighters, boots on the ground, to do their jobs. Since day one, this is my third budget as we're going into 25-26. What I can tell you is we are still understaffed, we're still under-resourced, and we're still underfunded. So with that, whether it's 7 million, 10 million.
But was the budget cut, Chief?
Yes, it was cut, and it did impact our ability to provide service.
She was saying that the cuts in the budgets affected them in this fire and this response of the fire. So the chief is coming out to say, hey, the budget cuts did affect us, and the mayor is not taking responsibility.
Firefighters even on the front lines expressing frustrations about, obviously it's a challenge right now. They're bringing in firefighters from all across the Western region. But can you address the criticism now over the budget issue and the slashing, $17 million slashing
I think
of the budget?
if you go back and look at the reductions that were made, there were no reductions that were made that would have impacted the situation that we were dealing with over the last couple of days. And then there was a little bit of confusion because money was allocated to be distributed later on, which was actually going to support salaries and other parts of the fire department that were distributed a little later. So I think it's most important to understand that we were in tough budgetary times. Everybody knew that, but that the impact of our budget really did not impact what we've been going through over the last few days. Again, back to the unprecedented windstorm, wind at such ferocity that we haven't seen in years.
She's been out, and everybody's calling for her to resign. Everybody's calling for Gavin Newsom to resign.
Yup, that too.
We pay the highest taxes in California. Our fire hydrants were empty. Our vegetation was overgrown, brush not cleared. Our reservoirs were emptied by our governor because tribal leaders wanted to save fish. Our fire department budget was cut by our mayor. But thank God drug addicts are getting their drug kits. Mayor of LA and Gavin Newsom resign. Your far-left policies have ruined our state and also our party. Sarah's tweet prompted a reply from a user who wrote, Los Angeles has had a Democrat mayor for 23 years, a Democrat majority in the state assembly for 24 years, and a Democrat governor for 13 years. What's it going to take for the state to wake up?
Gavin Newsom has been going out to do press runs.
You mean the press runs in the studio?
Like crazy.
And podcast.
Crazy.
Acting like the governor.
Acting.
Not performing as the governor.
Acting.
The actor governor.
The actor.
You've also called for an independent investigation into the issues around water supply that we've seen. What are the questions that you're hoping to answer?
The same ones you're asking. Same ones that people when I'm in the streets are asking, yelling about. What the hell happened? What happened to the water system? Was it, and by the way, was it just overwhelm that you had so much that was used, we drew it down? Was it pipes? Was it electricity? It was a combination of pipes, electricities, and pumps. What was that drawdown? Impossible, because you lost 7,000+ structures right here anyway, and every single structure we lost had a pipe that was leaking, and we would have lost that water pressure anyway. Did it contribute in any way to our inability to fight the fire, or were 99-mile-an-hour winds determinative, and there was really no firefight that could have been more meaningful? So all of us want to know those answers, and I just don't want to wait, because people are asking me. I want to know those facts. I want them objectively determined, and that the chips fall where they may. This is not about finger pointing.
Like he was just demonstrating.
In every incident, do an after-action report, and we will take a sober and reflective look at that. But let's just look at the facts. Just in the last few years I've been governor, we've close to doubled the investments in CAL FIRE, the state firefighting force. Close to double the number of personnel. We've increased the size of our aerial fleet by 16 new helicopters. We were finally able to get from the Pentagon 7 C-130s. We got the first one up there. You saw it up there, and the CAL FIRE flag on this fire. We had pre-positioned Saturday, our State Office of Emergency Service. We all got together before this event, days before the event, and we agreed to pre-position in 6 counties here in Southern California, hundreds and hundreds of assets. Let me be specific about that. On Sunday, we had 110 engines, hundreds of personnel, specialty crews, dozers, water tenders, helicopters. We pre-positioned them strategically in multiple counties. And because we had pre-positioned them, they were first on the scene. Many of these people supplementing the resources of this.
Every podcast, every speech, his hands was moving at every sentence. I was like, bro, you dancing or what? Is your voice a beat or what? He was just moving.
Like an actor. Reading a script.
Man, it looks like California, the acting and the Hollywood.
They took it too seriously.
They took it too serious, man.
Like, just let's not deal with the reality. Let's act and make the acting the reality.
Crazy.
You want to see somebody that responds to your house, your emergency, whether it's a medical call or a fire call, that looks like you. It gives that person a little bit more ease, knowing that somebody might understand their situation better. Is she strong enough to do this? Or, you couldn't carry my husband out of a fire, which my response is, he got himself in the wrong place if I have to carry him out of a fire.
Caribas used fire department money to fund a queer occult interests, an Ebony Theater, and a trans cafe. So she had tried to slash almost $49 million from the Los Angeles Fire Department budget one day before the Palisades fire started. This came after more than $17 million in cuts the previous year. Okay? She didn't want to waste money because we're in a state that's under a constant threat of disaster. So what did we fund instead? What did we use that money for instead? Well, the budget resolution for 2024 to 2025 fiscal year shows some foolish spending. So there was a midnight stroll transgender cafe, which Caribas suggested a $100,000 slush fund, and that amount was fully approved by City Council.
And this is what the acting gets you.
The state of unaware.
Crazy.
We have an episode on it.
We have an episode on Gavin Newsom, State of Unaware, where we talked about him not being aware of the looting that's been happening in California.
He went to the store, the mat, to pick up something, and people were looting right in front of him, and he was wondering why. Why the store didn't stop him.
Like, what did you guys...
And they had to remind him, hey, you passed the bill.
Like, crazy.
The woman says, oh, he's just walking out. He didn't pay for that. I said, well, why aren't you stopping him? She goes, oh, the governor. Swear to God, true story. Oh, my mom's great. The governor lowered the threshold. There's no accountability. I said, that's just not true. She looks at me twice and then she freaks out. She calls everyone over, wants to take photos. I'm like, no, I'm not taking a photo. We're having a conversation. Where's your manager? How are you blaming the governor? And it was, $380 later. And I was like, why am I spending $380? Everyone can walk the hell right out.
Like, crazy. Surprising. So now the fire is ravaging the whole of California. And Gavin Newsom has been called to question.
Yep.
Elon Musk has been trolling him since this whole catastrophic event.
Also, Elon flew to LA now to meet with the firefighters.
What about water availability? Was water availability? I understand that was like not an issue in Malibu. Is that correct?
Was it water?
Well, yeah.
So there was water. We have several reservoirs that encinos that we use a lot. Now, just an example, if we have one building burning, we could flow 1,000 gallons a minute on that one building with the hose lays that we put in to stop it. You can imagine 1,000 gallons per house we couldn't do, right? So the amount of water we're flowing, there really is no water system that's going to keep that pace. So we have to bring in water tenders, which are these big tank water tanks that, 2,500, 3,000 gallon trucks, and they'll come in. And that's what we have to do to compensate. So they park out there, do it. DWP did a great job. They brought in big water trucks for us.
All right.
And we use them as basically mobile hydrants.
All right.
Right. And then we have our own agency as well that has water tenders.
Okay. My understanding is that like along the, maybe correct me if I'm wrong, in Malibu along the coast, there was no shortage of water. In the Palisades, there was a shortage of water at a certain point. Or is that not accurate?
Well, we were flowing just an amount of water that the system couldn't overbear. That we're just overbearing just because of how much water these firefighters were utilizing.
Okay. All right. Sounds good.
There's been a lot of, I guess, conversations surrounding that of his incompetency.
Or even knowing what was being explained to him.
Mm-hmm.
Because he was coming there for maybe to like create a narrative that's this or this, and the firefighters.
He was trying to use this whole LA fire as an advantage to his PR.
Crazy.
Democratic Governor Gavin Newsom is calling out Elon Musk. On X, Newsom posted a clip of Musk talking to a fire command team. The governor said the firefighters, quote, exposed Musk for his own lies after Musk asked the firefighter if water availability was the issue.
Crazy. Elon Musk was called out on his BS.
Mm-hmm.
Gavin Newsom called him out on his BS.
He did.
And it's still going back and forth who is going to be responsible for this.
Everyone is pointing at everybody's faces.
Anybody else but themselves.
Pointing accusing fingers.
Everybody else but themselves. The conversation is hitting hard now because now the insurance companies are running away.
Oh, they've been running away even before the fire.
Even before the fire, they've been trying to get out of California.
LA is battling devastating fires. Yet just months ago, thousands had their insurance cancelled. Last year, State Farm began pulling back. It cancelled 30,000 insurance policies. In Pacific Palisades, 1,600 policies were dropped. Now, this neighborhood has around 9,000 residential units. The median value of a house is around $3.1 million, so it is an expensive neighborhood. And this matters because now these expensive homes have been gutted. Pacific Palisades is one of the areas hardest hit by the wildfires. It's been nearly wiped out, so all those expensive homes are gone without an insurance cover. And State Farm is not the only one. Other major insurers are also stepping away, leaving thousands of people vulnerable in wildfire-prone areas. Between 2020 and 2022, insurers refused to renew 2.8 million policies. 2.8 million. Over 500,000 were in Los Angeles.
And now it's looking like the insurance company is not going to help in the recovery of some of these people's properties that have been lost.
Yes.
There's no fire coverage.
None whatsoever. Crazy. For a city that goes to a wildfire from time to time, that's what you would need.
That should be the basic
of your coverage.
To cover my expensive home, insurance. To cover my expensive home, my valuable materials I have, or valuable ownership, or things I have. So everybody knows that there's fires in California and there is no insurance to cover those fires. That's crazy.
I want to have to make Sophie's choice with my family. So, we all piled into the SUV like everybody else. But no, man, these guys were out there clearing the trees, getting the wires back up and everything. It was like the perfect awful thing that could have happened, and it did. And I love how all the chatter out there is about bands of illegal immigrants and homeless people lighting fires. They light fires every day. They're living outside. They're cold. And this theory that some homeless guy without a car went from Altadena all the way to the Pacific Palisades, and then we have a hang glider. And they're talking about looting
But CNN and Fox News are not going to bring up the insurance companies that are just going to keep everybody's premiums and still give themselves a bonus. Yeah. Yes. Free Luigi. I love how they acted surprised. Why did that happen? I have no idea. He wrote on the bullets why it happened.
Oh, we're back to Luigi. Okay, yeah.
I never left Luigi.
I don't know how these insurance companies are getting away with this, and it looks like who holds these people responsible now? It's like the same thing when it comes to the healthcare. Now is looking into it. Now hits hard because now it's not just any zip code that was affected.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the most expensive
zip code.
Expensive zip codes in America
Mm-hmm.
that just got destroyed, and it's going to take years to rebuild.
Hey, I guess some people were saying the zip code that everyone fancy and work hard towards getting into.
Crazy. People have worked all their life to be able to afford homes in those zip codes. And now everything is gone.
Say we're not happy. And it's going to be very interesting to see whether or not they're going to build or whether somebody else is going to build and build a much lesser home. These were the most expensive homes outside of Palm Beach County. I see a list outside of Palm Beach. These were the most expensive homes anywhere in the world. And I think a lot of them are just not going to go back and build it. Plus, they don't want to be part of a construction site. They don't want to. They're building a home, another one's building. They're building in front of them, behind them, alongside of them. So I think it's a tragedy. I think it's an incredible tragedy. It's also a tragedy for a tax base. And the governors know exactly what I'm talking. And I'd like to hear anybody talk about that. But if you're the governor of a state and you lost thousands of very rich people that were paying a lot of taxes and weren't happy about it, and weren't happy about what's happened to California, which has all the advantages of greatness, but they've had horrible politicians. I think that Gavin is largely incompetent, and I think the mayor is largely incompetent, and probably both of them are just stone cold incompetent. What they've done is terrible.
So our prayers out to them, to everybody going through what they're going through right now in California. Prayers out to you. Safe, your health and your life comes first. On that note, that's the update we got for you in California fires. If you're new to the channel, you know what you'd rather do. You know what you're supposed to do. Hit the like, subscribe. You're welcome to JEJE.
Oh, JEJE. It's JEJE Vibe.
You know it's JEJE Vibe, JEJE Vibe, JEJE Vibe.
Oh, JEJE.
Can you all feel the vibe, feel the vibe, feel the vibe?
I'm feeling it.
You know it's JEJE Vibe. Feel the vibe. Like the vibe. It's JEJE Vibe.
Wow. Wow.
That's so crazy.
Wow, man. Right down to the bones, huh? Whew. Watch out for roofing nails. Okay, watch your step in here because it's ugly. There's a lot of nails, you see? Perfect thing to step on, right?
Oh, yeah.
Kind of like Vietnamese booby trap, you know?
Yeah.
Water heaters. It's just everything's caved in. You'd have to dig stuff out, I'm sure. And there may be stuff in there that's, salvageable. I doubt it. It's pretty dark.
I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
Be standing here at your house like this.
Yeah, that's okay. You know what? I'm okay with it. I'm okay. You don't look back, you look forward.
They were not happy. And it's going to be very interesting to see whether or not they're going to build or whether somebody else is going to build and build a much lesser home. These were the most expensive homes outside of Palm Beach County. I see a list outside of Palm Beach. These were the most expensive homes anywhere in the world. And I think a lot of them are just not going to go back and build it. Plus, they don't want to be part of a construction site. They don't want to, they're building a home, another one's building, they're building in front of them, behind them, alongside of them. So I think it's a tragedy. I think it's an incredible tragedy. It's also a tragedy for a tax base. And the governors know exactly what I'm talking. And I'd like to hear anybody talk about that. But if you're the governor of a state and you lost thousands of very rich people that were paying a lot of taxes and weren't happy about it, and weren't happy about what's happened to California, which has all the advantages of greatness, but they've had horrible politicians. I think that Gavin is largely incompetent, and I think the mayor is largely incompetent, and probably both of them are just stone cold incompetent. What they've done is terrible. Would anybody have a comment on that? Because when you talk about losing the tax base, you're losing a lot of, you're going to lose a lot of those people permanently, and those people pay billions of dollars in taxes.
After Donald Trump slammed Gavin Newsom for his gross incompetence, the California governor hit back when he was being interviewed by CNN.
You know, people are literally fleeing. People have lost their lives. Kids lost their schools. Families completely torn asunder. Churches burned down. This guy wanted to politicize it. I have a lot of thoughts, and I know what I want to say. I won't. I stood next to a president of the United States of America today, and I was proud to be with Joe Biden, and he had the backs of every single person in this community. He didn't play politics, didn't try to divide any of us.
Joe Biden tweeted that he had approved Governor Newsom's request for a major disaster declaration and will provide federal assistance. The End Wokeness page replied, "A little too late for that." Speaking of Trump, this video has gone viral, having been viewed 17 million times on X, where the now president-elect speaks to Joe Rogan during the presidential campaign season about California's water reservoirs.
They said, "We have no water." I said, "Do you have a drought?" "No, we don't have a drought." I said, "Why don't you have no water?" "Because the water isn't allowed to flow down. It's got a natural flow from Canada all the way up north of water, more water than they could ever use. And in order to protect a tiny little fish, the water up north gets routed into the Pacific Ocean. Millions and millions of gallons of water gets poured. I could have water for all of that land, water for your forests. You know, your forests are dry as a bone.
Other celebrities, including actor Zachary Levi, aren't holding back from placing blame on the state's leadership.
This is just incredible mismanagement, incredibly poor leadership. I would go so far as to say that it's criminally negligent because, I mean, Gavin Newsom has been either the governor for 5 years or lieutenant governor prior to that for 8-9 years. Some of the worst fires we've ever had in California under that watch. He clearly knows that the biggest problem that we suffer in California are these fires, and by the way, the mudslides that follow. And for them to do essentially not just nothing, but worse than nothing when firefighter budgets are being cut, when they are specifically intentionally not doing the work that could be done to avoid these problems.
Actor James Woods, who also lost his home in the fires, appeared on both Fox News and CNN, slamming Governor Newsom and also breaking down in tears.
If it is true that Gavin Newsom is the absolute blithering idiot that I believe he is in the way he has handled fire management in this state again and again and again and again, this isn't a wake-up call. This is the kind of thing they have tribunals for, where they try people and say, you had an oath of office to perform certain duties. When you're the fire chief, this isn't a social justice exercise that you're in charge of. This is you getting water to areas that need water because there are fires in 100-mile-an-hour winds burning houses to the ground. I posted this on X, but Sarah was on with her 8-year-old niece last night. And she came out. I'm sorry. Just, you know, one day you're swimming in the pool and the next day it's all gone. But she came out with her little Yeti piggy bank for us to rebuild our house.
Gavin with the good hair, Newsom. You thought you were going to be president. You're never, ever, ever going to be president. Gavin with the good hair, with the hair gel, little Nancy's nephew. Gavin with the good hair, Newsom. Gavin with the good hair. You're done, Gavin with the good. Talking about, we want to We want a Trump-proof California. How about fireproofing California? You're talking about Trump this, Trump that. He's not even president. I don't give a what he said. This is on you.
Millions of dollars in rescue equipment is just sitting in a lot, unused, because the fire department can't afford to hire the mechanics to repair it. LA's fire chief said in a recent memo, the fire department's staffing levels were half the size of what they should be.
If we cut one position, if we close one station, if we close one resource, the residents of Los Angeles are going to pay the ultimate sacrifice, and someone will die.
Just last month, fire personnel packed an LA Fire Commission meeting, begging the city to rethink the budget.
These cuts came at exactly the wrong time, with calls for services at an all-time high and our firefighters at their breaking point.
We are straining our department's resources beyond the brink, and we cannot continue on this path.
City Councilwoman Tracy Park was there too. At that commission meeting, you said, it's dire. Someone will die.
It's eerie listening to your words because that's what occurred. So let me just take a minute. Sorry.
Fire Captain Freddie Escobar.
You're not supposed to make me cry.
35-year veteran of the Los Angeles Fire Department wishes he'd been wrong, and this had not happened. For years, the LAFD union president warned that a disaster like the Palisades fire could happen. And while the cataclysmic weather conditions were historic, Escobar also blamed something predictable that hurt the firefight: money.
This is a woefully understaffed fire department. We're either going to have a fire department that's going to reflect 2025, or we're going to have a fire department that's going to reflect the 1960s.
134 square miles of thick, dry chaparral and oak, all within the city boundaries of Los Angeles, classed by experts as the fastest burning ground cover in the Western Hemisphere. The fire, starting from its point of origin north of Mulholland on Stone Canyon, spreads out along canyon walls in 3 directions. Flames begin spreading at the rate of 13 acres per minute.
We've got a report of 4 people trapped on foot between Chelan and Roscomare. We need help from the police department. Send an ambulance to 2025 Stradella Road.
How can a modern water system properly designed to meet emergency fire conditions fail to function? 484 times, fire proved its deadly efficiency by incinerating in a few roaring minutes what families had taken years to acquire.